Live from the Velveeta Room in Austin, Texas, as part of the Moontower Comedy Festival, this is SiriusXM's Unmasked with special guest from Impractical Jokers, Sal Vulcano. And now, here's the host of Unmasked, Ron Bennington.
Sal Vulcano, everybody, let him hear it. In his hometown, Austin, Texas.
That's right. Are you guys all from Austin? Anyone not from Austin? All right, that solves nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming here for this, to listen to me.
Let me just, I'm going to give this away because I was with Sal earlier today and he was asking me about Austin. He goes, what's with all the barbecue? A lot of barbecue here.
Yeah, here's the thing. I know you guys probably take pride in it. Yeah, everywhere we travel, everyone's always like, specifically with barbecue. I'll say barbecue. No,
you make a liar out of me.
I'm correcting. When I'm hanging out, I'm like, what's with the barbecue, bro? But no, everyone's always pushing specifically barbecue. Like, oh, you have to go here. This is the best. We have the best barbecue, and. I mean, the barbecue is good, and it always tastes exactly the same to me wherever I get it. Is that a sin to say?
No, I'll just say this: the best barbecue in the world, Austin, Texas. That's it. And I don't pander.
That's a professional right there. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I just don't get it.
What's with all your ugly building and bridges? It's terrible here.
So Austin. Love it. I love it. I do love it.
You really, your schedule is so crazy busy that you were checking in with us today because you didn't know whether your flight was going to make it.
Yes.
You had a connecting flight.
I did, from Nashville, yeah.
Now, if someone tells me...
Great barbecue there.
Yeah. For me...
Oh my God. Take pride in something else.
Well, there is a little history to this town outside of barbecue. But if someone says to me, oh, you have a connecting flight, then I say, no, I'm not doing it. I have to find directly.
I am on the same page as you.
Yeah.
And I think the only, and I don't want to say anything bad about any other airline, but Spirit, I think the only other one that was direct was like Spirit.
Yeah.
And I took them for the first time about a month ago, and it was an utter shit show from the second I stepped into the airport to when we got off the plane. So I was like, I'll just do the layover. But I took a really early one.
Yes, you did.
And it was delayed still, but everything worked out all right.
But I also want to thank one of our sponsors, Spirit Airlines, for the Moontower. Spirit Airlines. It's a real shit show.
They serve terrific barbecue.
Barbecue.
I'm hyper aware of my R's during this one.
No, can I just say this too? Because I don't know whether people around the country, but Staten Island, where you're from, is the last place people really talk like New Yorkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Long Island, Staten Island, yeah.
Yeah, Long Island.
Some parts of Jersey.
Yes. Well,
what
we're saying
stupid.
is Italians.
The Italian population is really the only people left that talk like Italians.
Yeah.
No, I listen to myself sometimes and I'm like, oh, I wish I could improve that. Because it kind of like... When I'm around people speaking like that, I don't think about it. But if you listen back, sometimes you can sound a little bit like buffoonish. If I'm being honest, you know.
No, you see, that's the thing, though. There's something that works about your show is that the guys talk the way they grew up talking. I think.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And if you would have said to me years ago, oh, people in England are going to love these four guys from Staten Island as they prank each other, I'd say, oh no, that show will not work.
There's no way. I thought they would like, I mean, I didn't think it would take in the slightest bit. I actually don't know what it is. Because a lot of times, like, the British comedy is different than American comedy. It's more sophisticated, actually.
Yeah.
And we are not that. So maybe we were just like a refreshing dose of non-sophistication that they took to. But I don't know. They've embraced us, really.
So they may, like people in England, and you're playing all around the world now. and they see you guys acting like this. And my theory is they go, oh, that's how Trump got elected. Because, by the way, Staten Island was the only place in New York City who went in way big for Trump.
Yeah, they're the red borough.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't speak for anybody else.
But it is amazing that this show, which, like we said, the odds of this making it in the United States on truTV, which at the time I don't think many of us had even heard of, the fact that you became a hit in the United States is a long shot. But now around the world, it's...
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm like, Ron, you're right. Continue. No, I know. We were just as shocked as you.
Yeah.
We got the show. It's such a long shot to get a show. Like, since we've been on the air and we have a little bit of we're in the public, and so we kind of try to run with that momentum. And so we've pitched other shows in the last 6 years that we've been on the air, and we've got pilots on 5 other shows, which is pretty good, and none of those even came close to making it to air. So it just showed us, and it goes to show how hard it is to get on. And then after we got the first season, I was like, well, that was that. We're out of ideas. 17 episodes. There's not much more we could do. And then you want to fast forward 6 years later, and it's like, I can't believe we're doing it. But we're still finding a new audience, so that's good. And we're still having fun, so that's good.
Well, that I think is great about doing it on truTV too, because it kind of rolled out. It was an overnight fluke success. Whatever this thing that works keeps working. Because I remember Big Jay Okerson is the guy who turned me on to it, our mutual friend.
Jay.
And he said this to me. He goes, I know you think you're going to hate this show, but you're going to like it.
A lot of people, that's their opening line to me. And I'm always like, no, but I completely understand it. I completely understand, because if I was removed from the situation, would feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
It's a couple of obnoxious assholes, just they think they're so funny, it's sophomoric and everything. We try to toe the line. We are friends for 28 years, and we are silly for sure. But, you'll see other influences in the show and stuff like that. And when people give it a chance, they usually say, oh, we misjudged you guys.
Yeah, whatever it is that works. That's the thing. And the fact that it can't be repeated, because whatever it is, it's very unique to you guys. But you all met when you were kids, right?
Yeah, we met as freshmen in high school in 1990.
Yes, so just think of the people that you knew when you were freshmen in high school. You probably see them once a year now, and these guys are still doing that thing, trying to make each other laugh like when you were freshmen.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Because I don't really talk about it out loud a lot, or especially not in a setting like this where it's under a microscope. But we can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's I never even thought I would own a home, and I just bought a home for Yeah, I just got right at 40 years old, bought my first home, right on track where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
No prospects, no children, no nothing like that. But it afforded us all this stuff, and I just even 5 years ago, I would never even imagine. I just really, really lucky about it,
But it isn't just luck. You work really hard about it, and I think one of the reasons that you guys are so accepted in the comedy community is because you show this real working club. What you do with this is the thing about Sal. I'll see him in the city, and you're out doing 5 or 6 shows a night at small rooms to work on his comedy. When I'm thinking, why aren't you home in your gold hot tub and just doing giant lines of cokes off prostitutes the way you're supposed to be in this business?
Really?
Everybody's clapping for that. That's way better than the home, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, hot tubs, they harbor germs. No. I like hot tubs, actually. Yeah, no. God, I love it. There's nothing I want to do more than comedy in every way. So with the guys, solo, whatever. And now I finally just forced myself to make the time to do solo stuff. And I feel like my one regret is I wish I would have started comedy at 17 years old.
Right.
And, stand up. Mm-hmm. And so now I have to make up for a lot of lost time, and I love doing it. So I'm happy to grind. I love it. I love it. So.
But you really do go out and grind. You'll play these giant arenas. And then the following night, you're playing a bar show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah, well, because that's the best part of comedy.
Yeah.
Like the big theater and the 5 people.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's a different experience, but you still get the same out of it.
Yeah.
And you learn from each, and it's just, I mean, that's it. That's what comedy is. I mean, everyone does that. Like everybody does it.
Yeah.
And you got to just work out, and you got to work out in every room, and you got to get your reps in, and I'm not it's funny for me to talk about it because I've been a long time fan of comedy, like a comedy nerd, I would call myself. So like I knew the world of comedy pretty well. I knew what it was about and stuff, so I knew what to expect.
Who did you love when you were a kid? When you were just a kid growing up?
So my first influences stand-up wise, believe it or not, Eddie Murphy. My dad, he let me watch Eddie Murphy, so I loved Eddie Murphy, loved Bill Cosby himself. Like that was a big one.
Still?
Yeah. And I respect the special for what it is.
Yeah.
He's just a great storyteller, and I tell stories. Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy's a great storyteller, and I skew to telling stories. Andy Kaufman was a big one for me. I'm trying to just think when I was like,
but that was something,
little.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you see that and you go, okay, that's a job, but you don't think you can, you're not thinking to yourself, oh, I'm going to do that job someday.
No, I wish I just believed in myself like a little earlier. But I would always do it for friends, for family. Like at a party or I would get up and I would do jokes, and I would do at family dinners. I would get up and do impressions and jokes, and I'd act things out. But never. I was just so nervous and I even took one of these in high school or at the beginning of college. I took one of these stand-up comedy classes.
Yeah.
Because my desire was there to do it, and I was like, I just need a little guidance. I didn't know that much about comedy. I didn't have that many comedian friends yet, people to bounce things off of and stuff. And I took that, and I don't know. I think it was probably a complete waste, but but then I just I was just too nervous to make the leap. And then one day I was like, this is ridiculous. I just have to do it because. You hear that a lot. A lot of people are like, I always thought about doing it, but it takes a lot to get it. I take nothing away from any person at any level who gets up to do stand-up comedy. Like the mics, the open mics, the whatever. If you're getting up and you're trying, I have the same exact respect for you as Bill Burr. You know what I mean? It just takes a lot. You know what I mean? And you have to learn in front of everyone. There's no other way to learn except in front of everyone. So everything that comes with learning is on display. So it is tough. It is tough. It
is really incredibly brave when you see a kid and he's like, I got to go up. And they're so nervous that if you would say to them, or you could fight a bull, and they would go, I'd rather do that right now. Because, that thing of pushing yourself through is the biggest step of all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you're a little kid and you're doing impressions. Who were you doing impressions?
Yeah, my first one was George Jefferson. George Jefferson. I used to live in a 2-family home with my grandparents, and me and my grandpa were really close. We bonded over a lot of shows. And when I was little, Jefferson's was a big show. It's my favorite show of all time. And I used to watch it, and it used to make my grandpa laugh so much and me laugh so much. So I just used to try to emulate George Jefferson, who I think is an absolute Sherman Hemsley is an absolute genius.
Yeah,
so funny, and to bridge the gap, it was heavy-handed. The show could be at times too,
But that's the thing, that here you are, you're watching that show, that you're a little kid, you can watch it, and then your grandfather can watch it, and now you do that kind of show. Because everyone always says about you guys, and again, when we're talking about the impossible thing that they've turned on now, is that this crazy show that you do is also a family show that bonds people. You'll see 4 generations will show up to see these guys on tour. And that should, again, never happen.
Yeah, I never thought. I mean, I don't really think about this like in this light. So to compare it that way to the Jefferson, that made me feel good.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
People come to the show. They come to the show. They do, and when we do meet and greets after, and it's very common. Almost once a night, we'll meet a full 4 generations of family, or 3 if the person died or whatever. And there's a little something for everyone. We just hope that the edgy stuff goes over the kids' heads and probably over the seniors' heads. And then it's just there's a little physical comedy, there's a little silliness, and then there's some.
But that's also basic Italian-American type families where there's ball busting that always takes place. And then there's also jokes that sometimes they throw in the Italian words suddenly out of nowhere. And if you said them, you wouldn't say it in front of a whole family. But even the grandmothers will do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was actually, it's funny that you say it because, like, my mom, so growing up for me, my mom, she's going to hate that I said, my mom would curse like a truck driver, right? And my dad would never curse in front of us at all. Like, I think, like, one time my dad said shit, and he was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's okay. Like, you let me watch Eddie Murphy. He's like, women throwing pussy at me. We're watching it together, eating a sandwich. And Murphy's like, pussy over here, pussy over there. My dad's like, oh, shit. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. But my mom used to be like, don't fucking be late. Don't listen to that. And I was one of 2 kids in my grammar school who did not say a curse word. Even after 8th grade, I never said one. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. I knew I would get in trouble, but then I also just felt it was kind of wrong. And I remember I didn't curse till high school. And I remember, like, the first day, like, I cursed. I was doing an impression of something in the schoolyard, and I was like, yeah, some guy told us the cop that have a good fucking day, cop. And I had my friends laughing and everything, and I was like, oh my God, I just cursed. But I'm kind of like old enough. But like maybe I won't. Like no one really will know. It's just on me. Can I accept it now? Am I a cursor now? Is this the new me? Like all these things are going through my head, and then we went up after recess, and my teacher took me on the side, Mrs. Coover. She took me on the side, and she said, "The windows were open up here. I was grading papers. I heard you curse, and they knew I didn't curse. Oh no, this was the end of 8th grade. I'm sorry, this was the end of 8th grade. It was like graduation time. I remember this because she knew me and Richie Camerata didn't curse. We're the only 2 kids, and she said, I want you to know. I heard you cursing out there. I know you don't curse. I'm really disappointed in you." And I was like, oh my God. Like I am a piece of crap.
But let's hear it for Richie Calderano, who still holds the record. He's literally the Cal Ripken of not cursing. This guy, to this day.
Yeah, that motherfucker.
He's carrying the strap. And he remembers that day in 8th grade when you blew it. You had it going.
There was one other time.
Yeah.
There was one other time I just remembered from this. This isn't a curse word, but I was younger than that. I was probably in like 5th grade. And my mom did something that really, really made me angry. And I went into my room and I went behind my bunk beds and I was like... I guess people listening, I'm giving the finger. Like, I'm emphatically giving it a double finger. And I was like, ugh. And I forgot there was, on my closet door, there was a full-length mirror. And she saw it through the angle of the mirror, which I didn't see her in my periph at all. And I hear her go, "Wah!" And she ran in, and this sounds like so stereotypical, but she dragged me into the bathroom, and she put soap in my mouth, which, if we could just talk about this right now, I didn't curse. Like, she should have just washed my middle fingers. I shouldn't have got soap in the mouth for giving the finger. I should talk about that on stage.
Yeah, that's good. But you have never gotten away with anything in your life. Seriously, never even fool around on your taxes because it'll happen immediately with you.
I know, yeah. Now that I'm realizing that I do not have a good track record.
No, you never caught a break, ever. Now, you think a lot of that stuff, too, was being a Catholic kid that you had that?
I went to Catholic school from kindergarten. I was in a Catholic school till senior year of college. Just so happens. Not that I was like a devout Catholic, but our grammar school is K through 8. Kindergarten through 8, so that was all. Then I went to a Catholic boys' high school where I met the guys, and then I went to St. John's, which is considered a Catholic university.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I grew up Catholic,
right?
But I don't really subscribe to that right now.
Yeah.
Like I just said, like
it's not a magazine, by the way.
Yeah.
You don't subscribe.
I don't subscribe to Catholicism Weekly. That's how they get you. You get one issue, they keep sending the shit, and they keep charging you. Then you feel guilty if you don't renew.
But do you think, even though you've moved on from that, it still keeps a lot of those guilt issues?
It is so weird.
Yeah.
It is ingrained in our psyche, Catholics. Is anybody Catholic here? Or Christian or whatever, what have you? It's so weird because like a long time ago, I was like, okay, I kind of get how everything works. I kind of believe more in science, and I'm an adult, and I take religion away from no one. But even though I feel that way, I still feel the Catholic guilt with things, even though I know I've told myself I don't believe in that. So it's ingrained in a way that you can't get it out, really.
Well, it is smart with any religion is get them while they're young. You know what I mean? Before you can figure it all out yourself. Oh, here's the rules.
Yeah. And again, not taking for those who believe that, even that your own beliefs is my belief, but I even though I've made I've conscious effort that no, this is what I believe in, I sometimes feel guilty like in a religious way. Sure. Yeah.
And you also worry about that because we grew up this way and it actually happened to you, but the immediate punishment and the fact that has happened in your life. Yeah. Maybe the Catholics are 100% right now after talking to you. How quickly you get busted for whatever you do.
I doubled down too because I taught CCD to get college credit in senior year. I taught third grade catechism on the weekends to kids. Yeah, and so I don't even remember any of it, but I for like almost 2 years I did that. But it was just to get extra credit for And this is funny. The kids that I taught are 31 right now.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like I just pulled off a magic trick or something. Whoa.
They just went, oh my God, he's really old then. But I think it's great. Like you went all the way through elementary school, high school, college, and then at 23 years old, you finally met a black kid. It took that long to finally go, oh, there's people outside of this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
we had that's funny that you say. In my neighborhood, I had a lot of black friends. Yeah. But in school, we only had maybe 1 or 2 black kids per class. In school, there wasn't that many in my high school or anything. But still friends with them to this day. There's 2 of them. Will and Dexter.
Yeah. And they cursed early. Don't worry about those guys. They were rappers. At Staten Island, there's also an incredible rap scene. What's happened there? Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is from there.
That's the scene. Yes. But they are the best. So.
But I think it's amazing, like, even with that background, that you guys even got together and thought to yourselves, let's do improv. Like, forget about before even TV. That's not a normal thing for kids from Staten Island to go, let's do improv.
Yeah, I think if you have it in you, you have it in you. Maybe we're like part of the minority, but our school, Monsignor Farrell, they had an improv workshop or whatever you want to call it. And so we did that, and it was fun. It was a way to meet girls, because we did it with other schools. We were an all-boys school, but we combined with other schools. We go, and it was at night, and they teach you, and you do scenes and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. And so I kept doing that when I went to college. And I did it in the city. I took classes in the city, and I liked it. And then when I got back from college, me and the guys, we all went to different schools. And when we got back, we kind of all were doing something like that. And so we were like, oh, why don't we just try and do it together and see what happens? And we used to get together in Joe Gatto is one of the guys from the show. We used to get together at his house in his mom's basement 3 nights a week for 3 hours a night rehearsing. And we used to record every rehearsal. And then when we would with that 2 hours, then when we were done, we'd watch it back like football players watch tape, and we'd pause it and be like, "See what you did there? You could have done it different. You could have done it like that, and you could have done that." And we did that for 6 months before we ever performed.
Wow, that's so. I've never heard of anybody doing it.
It's probably ridiculous. It's probably not necessary at all, and we probably sucked big time. But at least it gave us a little bit of we felt like we were preparing.
It does take the improvisation out of improv for you guys. But when you guys started to perform, did you perform in Staten Island or in Manhattan?
No, we performed in Manhattan. The first place we ever performed that was a place in Hell's Kitchen. It's still there, called Producers Club Theater.
Yes, I know
Little
that
black
place.
box theater, and we started in the 50-seater, and we do 2 shows a month, one night, 2 shows that night, and we did it like once a month. And we pull friends of friends, coworkers, family members, and then word spread a little bit. And then we started doing it every other weekend. And then we did a couple of shows in Staten Island at the College of Staten Island. They had like a nice big theater, so that was like a bump up for us because it was 150 seats. But we did that for like 4 or 5 years, and then we stopped. And then the next iteration was like a couple of years later, like MySpace and YouTube had just come out, and so we started filming sketches and putting them online, and that was like the next wave of like kind of what we got into now.
So there, and like really not a lot of people were doing it at first because the bandwidth was a pain in the ass and stuff like that. So you started to find out that some of these sketches would take off, but they weren't necessarily people that could go to see you at that theater because it goes out wherever.
Yeah, no one. We didn't know who. We didn't know who did it. Who put it up? Like we put it up. We made a YouTube channel and a MySpace page, but those websites featured us on their homepage. Has a lot of traffic, and we got a lot of views. And then we didn't know who was doing it, and we later met the person who did it.
Really?
Yeah,
that was putting
really
you up.
Nice girl. Yeah. And then MySpace reached out to us to make some like videos for them, and we got to meet her, and that helped a lot because like it got millions of people to watch our, what we were doing. And back in the day, MySpace ranked the comedy pages. And when we made one, there was like maybe 15,000 comedy pages. And I remember by the time it was petering out, there was about 130,000. And there was an algorithm how they ranked you. And I guess a lot of it had to do with the views. And so since she did that for us, we rose the ranks and were ranked number 1 for a bit, and that was a big deal. MySpace was a really big deal, and then all the other comedians on there were like very popular big comedians, like I don't know. I remember Cat Williams was on there in like the top 10, and then when we
like
passed,
Dane Cook,
Dane Cook was on there, and then some people were like, "Who the hell are these kids? Like, who the hell are these people?"
Yeah,
and then we were able to go into a meeting and say, "Well, we were ranked number 1 on MySpace," which meant something back then. So it got us in the door at places.
So you guys, were you handling yourself when you said, "Okay, now we've shown that we can do this online. We want to do it"? Did you go run to networks or what happened there?
No, we. This is how everything happened. There was NBC was going to do a sketch troupe competition show where sketch comedy troupes competed against each other. And the way they did this was they started it online at first, and they asked for submissions. So they would give a topic like workout video, infomercial, bad breakup, whatever. And then they let you submit videos, and then the internet would vote. And you could win $1,000 every week. They gave you 2 topics, and you could win $1,000 if just by regular person vote you were the best for that week. And that was their way of finding talent all across the country without having to go look for it. And so people were submitting in like a lot, and we won one. I saw it, and so we had made a video already, and I said, let's just put this in. It fits the criteria, and we won $1,000. We were like, oh my god, because at the time we were all like, working as like, I was delivering pizza and $1,000, and so then we started making them for the purpose of the competition, and over the course of like maybe I want to say like 3 or 4 months, we won 11 of those. So we won $11,000, and we also in the process made like 30 videos. So then we just dumped them all online, and I think since we put up so much content so early on, that's what kind of made them notice us. And then NBC cast us from that as one of the 5 sketch comedy troupes in the United States to be on this show. And it was like a studio, like a big budget studio show. Yeah. It was in a studio almost like remember Deal or No Deal, like the glossy kind of thing. Yeah, and Carson Daly was to host it.
Of course.
Then, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna do this pilot, and they were even advertising it like on television, like, and then they were like, but we don't need the comedy troops here. We're just gonna like do these, like show clips, and then we'll show their sketches, and we'll have an audience vote. And they did that. They did it all. They filmed the pilot, and we won. And the winners won $100,000. And this is in 1997, and so it never aired. It didn't get picked up. It never aired. But they filmed the episode, and contractually they had to pay us.
Yeah.
So we won that, and then a couple of the producers of that show said, would you guys like to try and develop something with us? And we developed the show, and they brought us to their agents, and those agents became our agents. and then we sold a show right away. It was the first time we ever went out. We sold a single camera scripted show, like almost like an Always Sunny in Philadelphia type thing. Like if I could compare it at all, not that it's like that, but and we went to pitch it for the first time, and the first round of pitches, which is not normal, but Fox and Spike offered to give us pilots, and we had the decision to make. Obviously, Spike is like a real small, basic cable channel, Fox's network, and we just thought that maybe we'd have a better chance getting on the air if we went with Spike. So we went with Spike, and we made the pilot, and it was a learning experience. We turned it down, but that's how it, and then it like kind of continued from there. Yeah.
So you guys, it's amazing things because, the fact is that not only are you guys hardworking, but you're on the brunt of this new technology and able to scramble, and that's always for the very youngest guys. You know what I mean? Like people who have already done a TV show, it wouldn't occur to them if they're out of work to go, hey, I can start putting this up on MySpace.
It was unbelievable that we were able to do it ourselves because we had no connections, we had no experience. The videos we made aren't even good. You know what I mean? I mean, back then for us at the time, for our skill level, maybe we were proud of them. Now I try to hide them a little bit. But it was what it was for the time for us, and it was the only way that we figured out how to get a foot in the door somehow.
And so the deal was spiked when as far as it was going to go. Yeah. But you're picking up some money here and there, and things are, And
no, we were picking up no money.
No money? They weren't giving you any money even?
Oh, they gave us to make the pilot, but you don't make any money from that.
So you're still working day jobs. Everybody's still working day jobs.
Oh, yeah. This is 97, full time, 100%.
Yeah.
I worked, Q is another, Q is on the show. Him and I worked full-time jobs until the end of season 2 of Impractical Jokers. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When, everyone, it's so funny too because everyone thinks they see you on television that you are like a trillionaire or something, and it's the furthest thing from the truth. There's no it was like having a regular job. You know what I mean? But they see you on TV and they're like, oh, and it's like, I don't have any money at all. And I worked till the end, and there was a big leap to make. Uh-huh. It was talk about scary, and to give up my job and just try to do this full time, and we did it, and luckily it's been working out.
But it's definitely been working out for you. There's no doubt about that. But I
have a gold hot tub. So.
Yeah. But there's also, and I kind of think this is your background. You're practical about all this. Like I said.
Was that like a pun?
No. No, truly.
We're very pragmatic approach to everything for sure.
But because a lot of guys, as soon as they get anything, oh, now I need a gold rope chain. You know what I mean? And I
have friends like that.
Yeah. But so walk us through how the truTV, because this is, even what you hit big with is far away from what you guys had established with yourself with the Tenderloins.
Yeah, you know what it was? We had so many failed things, and they were all scripted, and we were all playing characters. And so we were like, what is something that we could do that's not scripted? Because we know how to improvise, and we know how to be ourselves. That's what we could do really well. Yeah. So that was the way we backed into the idea of Impractical Jokers. And I think part of that is what made it relatable and successful is that, only we can do with what only we can do. So,
right.
That clicked with people. And then it is a little bit of a departure, but it isn't, because a lot of the show is born of really how we act and what we do.
You couldn't have done it without those failures. You couldn't do what you're doing today without the...
Absolutely not. Yeah, you had to arrive there from all the failures. Yeah.
It's really strange because we're in Austin, Texas, and Tito's, it's all over, started right here in Austin. And it's always remarkable to me how much the stories are the same. The products are different, right? Yeah. But it's that thing, and he had to do the same thing that you did, that you hold on to the day job and then you make that leap. And it's not that different of a success story.
Yeah, I guess the formula, I guess, is
right.
If you read, I'll read books on successful people and their patterns and habits and stuff, and it always... There's a through line through it all, I guess.
But that's what kept you going when you weren't successful, reading these kind of things?
No. Yeah. What kept me going is I am in love with comedy.
Right.
That's it. It didn't matter. I was happy. I've never not been happy in any phase of my comedy career because it's just I love doing it. So it's like I'll do it if the show ends tomorrow. If I was never successful, I would do it for free till I will do it till the day I die.
Right.
Like Don Rickles, you know what I mean? Like who's one of my idols. So.
And you know what? I'm always trying to tell that to people too because they're like, if they get a gig at the Comedy Cellar and I'll say, "What's up?" and they go, "Well, last night I got bumped for Tracy Morgan," and I'm like, "Dude, you realize how hard it is to get to be one of the guys that Tracy Morgan bumped?" And if someone told you that in 8th grade, you're like, "Holy shit, my life's going to be great."
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know. I'm not like I am. Most of the people I've met, and I got into the public eye and I got to meet other people in the public eye. I got to meet some of my idols, some famous people, and you always wonder, like, how is this person? How are they? Like, are they different than me or different than normal people? And refreshingly, most of the people that I've met that are my comedic idols or are famous or whatever have been down to earth, real people. And there's assholes everywhere, but
let's name those guys.
But
oh wait, we already brought up Big J. That's that's a known
he's the
fact.
Best, dude.
He's so cocky.
No, but I have I would never. I just don't have an ego. It's not in me.
Yeah.
Not that I have any reason to. But if I was even at any level, I just don't. Like if I get bumped, it happens it's part of comedy,
Yeah.
I get bumped all the time.
Well,
I'm happy to be there to be bumped.
Well, you really do have, like, also because you're on the cutting edge of all this, you have the kind of new kind of fame where the people who like you love you and you're as big as the Beatles to them, but other people who haven't seen truTV might have zero idea. So I've stood with you on the streets of New York and see people walk by and then somebody just see you and melt down and freak out and grab their phone. And then the next people walk past you. It's very unique to this time.
It is really, yeah. And people say, like, a lot of probably the number one question we get in regards to Impractical Jokers is, how do you guys still do it? Because everybody knows you.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they don't. Like, like there's so many people.
Right, yeah.
There's hundreds of people. And, so we're lucky that the people who have bonded to the show have an affinity to us that is very unique. Mm-hmm. It's like super loyal, and people freak out at us. And then, if you don't know us, you have no idea who we are.
Yeah.
Like, I never watched Game of Thrones. I hear it's the best show ever, but if the whole cast walked by, like, in uniform, I wouldn't. Well, maybe if they were in costume, I'd be like, maybe that's Game of Thrones, or there's a time traveler, But I don't know anyone in Game of Thrones,
In uniform is the best line. But like in the old days, like if you didn't watch Happy Days, you still knew who Fonzie was and Potsy. Like those
there
people.
Wasn't the level of saturation with everything there is now. Yeah. Information and entertainment and at your fingertips. It's crazy.
Was it you guys or the network that came up with the idea of what to show Impractical Jokers?
It was us. We just we pitched it to them. We filmed it on our cell phones.
Yeah.
The four of us, and we brought it in to them.
And they
named it.
Did they?
Yeah, we had another name. When we pitched it to them, it was called Mission Uncomfortable. And
it's actually a really good name.
I thought it embraced what the show was about. And they were like, well, we don't like that. And we went back and forth a bunch, and we had no leverage at this time. And so they finally said, pick from these. And one of the things they wanted to call us was Daredevils. And I used whatever little leverage I had to tell them that I would literally hang myself. I wouldn't do it. Like, I just kept thinking, like, Devil Dog. I don't know, like, Daredevil just sounds so corny. And then I remember they said, we're going to call you guys Impractical Jokers. And I literally get completely pale and nauseous.
Sure.
And I was like, that is the worst name I've ever heard. First of all, no one just says the word impractical. It's a clunky name.
Yeah.
Second of all, the Jokers is just like, to me, when I heard it, I was like, that's the hackiest bullshit I've ever heard. Like, we're like jokers, like we're the Joker card. What do you call those guys with the hat? The Jesters.
Yeah, Jesters.
Yeah, like they did this like early like art mock-ups, and we were in like jester hats, and I'm like, I cannot do this. I respect comedy too much.
Yeah. It's already like a failed mission, though, right? That you have to put on those hats.
Oh my God, it was just terrible. It was terrible. Yeah. And they finally said, nope, that's what we're calling it. And for like, and then I was like, I remember telling people I had a show and it being bittersweet because they'd be like telling like comedians that I'd be like, oh, we got our own show. It's called Impractical Jokers. And then I was like, oh my God, they're going to start calling us the Jokers. Which, by the way, our comedy troupe name for a decade before that was the Tenderloins. So it's not any better.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least I could be like embarrassed to that for myself. But like, and then for some reason, like people didn't mock the name that much as I thought they would. And they took the show at face value. And then everyone just like calls it IJ or calls us the Jokers now. And it doesn't affect me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you one thing that's good about it is it's eponymous. Like, is that the word? Did I use the right word? Like, we are the name of the show. Like, at least we're the identity. Like, if you wouldn't be like, there goes the Mission Uncomfortables. So I guess that's kind of good that we've become the identity of the name. I think it's eponymous.
But the thing is, I think you're right. But aren't most names terrible? Like if you look at the band U2, you're like, that's an awful name. But now we just accept it.
Right.
Seems normal.
Yeah.
But at the time, I would have said, change your name, boys.
Yeah,
you know?
U2.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's about. My friend Casey has the joke.
Spy plane.
It was like, oh, it's Bono, Edge, and then U2.
Yeah.
My friend Casey writes on the show. Casey Jost. Yeah.
Yeah. Two guys just got their feelings hurt just now in Ireland.
We don't know their names. So, I mean, they're amazing. God bless them. But
Larry McMullen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, well, hey, listen, if you two are listening, it's all in good fun, really.
That is the other thing about you guys is that there are some really big name people who are kind of freaks for your show too, that's very strange. But I mean, like some of the biggest people, because this is like to me, it's a real street show. Like I always think to myself, I get why everybody in Staten Island would love it, but it's hard for me to think of like Steve Carell just going, oh, this is the show for me.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And that's someone who is like a comedic genius.
Yeah.
And I think part of the show is let me think about this. It's just not. It's not trying to be something. It's not. It's face value. It is what it is. We fool around, and at the core of it, I just think is like funny's funny. Like you don't have to be like the most brilliant person in the world to be funny. Everyone has their one friend they think is the funniest, and the reason they laugh is unique to that person and whatever.
Right.
We just we make each other laugh. We're being ourselves. So I guess that is what people connect with. You know what I mean?
But I grew up in the same kind of neighborhood outside of Philadelphia in an industry town, and everybody would say, if any of you guys want to be successful, you have to change everything about yourselves. That's why it's always amazing to me that people relate to you instead of you going, how do I have to relate to people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that the most important thing in comedy is having your own voice.
Yeah.
And that's in anything. Or writing for someone. If you're writing for someone, you have to write in their voice. And if you're a comedian, the thing that is the hardest thing to do is capture your own voice, because you'll hear overlap in material, but as long as someone's telling it through their point of view and their own life experience, then it's unique to them. And that's what you'll hear comedians say takes the longest to develop, is their own voice, and that's always evolving too. So I guess us just being ourselves and being friends for 28 years, we started off already not having to maybe figure that out so much.
Yet you also, and I think this turned out to be smart, and people would have said it was a bad idea, you've brought in a lot of neighborhood guys that work on your show. So whether it's writers, camera people, whatever, producers even now.
Yeah.
These are other people from your neighborhood that you grew up with.
These are the people from my neighborhood. One guy from the fish market is the cameraman now.
Bring him in, yeah. Everybody's mother is calling your mom.
No, yeah, there's a decent slice of the people on our crew and staff are our friends from back home. Some of them that already were working as camera guys, or they were funny and getting into comedy, and some of them that we just were like, I know you, and I know you could do this job.
Right.
And we work amongst those. And it's great because they know us, so they foster our sensibilities, and it makes for a very familiar workplace.
Sure.
And then that kind of just like over the years has just spread to everyone. So everyone on the crew now is like I always hear that too. I hear like you watch like award shows and people like or you watch like a movie, or you watch like the DVD extras and they like rap and they're like, we're a family, but it gets true because you're with these people like every single day for years and years and years. And they're as much a reason why the show is successful as us. You know what I mean? Because they do everything to make the show run. They're the gears of the show. So it's been cool too, because a lot of the people that work on the show, when we first started out and we're doing everything ourselves, they would always like help us for nothing. We didn't have any money to give, and they would just dedicate their time and their efforts and their talents for nothing. And then it was really cool to be able to pay those people and give them work and give them a job now. So that was really, really cool.
And I imagine
it's probably our proudest thing. That's my proudest thing.
I imagine everybody from Staten Island, the lunches must be amazing.
Oh no, dude, our craft service and lunch is shit. It's
that
complete
right?
shit.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to my friend's mom's house for lunch. You know what I mean? Like we still have a budget, and like someone has to order that. That's not us. And I've been on at other TV shows to visit, and I'm always like, what the fuck? These people have amazing spreads. Like we have they go to Costco, and we get like literally there's like trail mix and like Cheez-Its, and not that those things aren't good, but that's it for like 6 years. Like I can only eat so many Cheez-Its. I know it looks like I can eat way more, but I can only eat so many. Cheez-Its. Is that another sponsor?
Yes, Cheez-Its and Spirit Airlines have sponsored our show. So you've got to do these amazing road gigs now. What is like? I mean, first of all, just do it. You're from New York. You played Radio City, which is insane. But those aren't even the biggest gigs that you guys have done now.
At this point, no. We just did our first tour of the UK and surrounding areas, and we did over there. It started airing a few years ago, and since we're not there, I think it was much more of an event or a novelty that we were coming over there, and we didn't realize that how much traction it was gaining over there. And we were told that it was the #1 show. It plays outside of the United States on Comedy Central, and so. They told us it's a #1 show. It's been the #1 show, and we put it on sale, and they went nuts. So we did an arena tour in the United Kingdom. So it was like between like 10 to 15,000 a night for like 2 weeks straight, and that just happened. It was in January. That was completely surreal. I still don't feel like we do that. Like I'm still like, wow, I wonder how people do that, because it's like an out of body experience.
Sure.
It still feels like I'm looking at it happening. But like it doesn't feel like I'm doing it.
No, because that's like the reverse Beatles, right? This is these guys, and if you look back at the Beatles, this is 4 guys from the neighborhood. They played music, had no idea how it was going to go over in the States. I think it's even tougher to put comedy. There's great giant comedians in England who never can make it here. Like some guys do, some don't. But to take these guys from Staten Island and they're selling out these
I'll say it.
places,
I'm John Lennon. I mean,
you really are.
No, I'm kidding.
What?
I mean, I know I don't have to say this, but I need to stress I'm so kidding.
Yeah. Hey, why pick a guy who actually died at 40?
Yeah. That's why I said it. Me and him were in the same shape.
Well, it wasn't bad living that killed him. So no matter how many sit-ups you do, a bullet still is a tough thing to fight off. But and this is another reason why I love you, is you do get it all the time. Like you understand that, yes, you've worked hard, but yet these other things that have happened, and you're very, very appreciative of them,
I mean, I don't know. There's no really other way to be. It's not like there's no...
Well,
we're just really lucky.
You were in Hawaii for a month, and you were just telling me this, and that you took your mom with you.
Yes.
Which is, I mean...
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Was she always a believer that this is going to come back, or is she is?
No, my parents are really cool with it.
Yeah.
From when I was young, they were just like, do whatever you like. I have a finance degree, and I worked in mutual funds for Prudential Securities out of college for 5 years.
Uh-huh.
I was doing comedy on the side. And I remember when I left that job to become a bartender so I could focus on comedy, they were just like, are you sure? You know, I was doing well for myself for that age, you know, and everything in my job.
Were you working in Manhattan?
I was, yeah.
Yeah. It's always incredible to me, people from Staten Island catch a boat to go to work. It seems like you just have to be in the Navy if you have to catch a boat.
It is
first
a bit
thing in the morning.
antiquated, right? Yeah, like it was. I had like it was.
Yeah.
There was nautical stuff involved in getting to work. Yeah.
So your parents had to be so proud. Like, look at him. He's.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
Like, not for them to be proud, but like for me to have any success whatsoever after leaving that. And I remember my dad, when I left, they offered me more money, and then I talked to my dad. I was like, they offered me this, and he was like, oh, I don't know. I said, it's just not what I want to do long term, though.
Yeah.
So I had a backup plan, which was that I would also learn the bar business so that if I did or didn't succeed either way, I could maybe own a bar. And I did do that for a little while as well.
But that got too much to do both?
Yeah, it wasn't the right move in the end. I had a bar. I bought a bar with a couple of buddies, and then like 2 weeks later, we found out we got the show. And so, when you first buy a business, you need to be there 7 days a week, all the time. And then also, when you probably first get a show, I would imagine you have to do the same. So I was like, uh-oh. And then I just worked about 100 hours a week for 2 years. Then I had like basically a nervous breakdown because I couldn't do it. Because at the bar, I'd film from like 9 to like 5. And then I would be at the bar from 7 to like 4. Mm-hmm. And I did that like 3 or 4 nights a week for about 2 years. And I was driven, because I wanted the bar to succeed, and I wanted the show to succeed. But it caught up. It caught up with me. Yeah.
Well, you can't go from playing 20,000 people to, hey, do we have enough olives? You know what I mean? Because it is stressful when you run out of olives. No, that's what I would do
all day long. Yeah. We'd be filming the show. The first 2 seasons, we fight about things, and one of the things that they would get on my case about is on camera. I can't be on my cell phone, but I would have to run the business through my phone during the day with inventory and orders and scheduling and who's calling sick, and every little thing was on the phone. So that was me running the business through I was happy to leave that. It was the hardest thing I ever did, try to run a bar.
Sure.
It was harder than the show, I think.
Yes,
it was. No. It's just too much. At least everything falls solely on my shoulders with comedy. Mm-hmm. But with the bar, it's really hard to be a small business owner, and especially in New York, and you have to deal with insurance and the health department and just so many different factors, and it's just you really what you're doing is you're becoming an on-call problem solver, 24/7. It just gets to be too much. It's not rewarding.
Even when I heard you had the bar, I always thought it was a front for the mob. So this is it's great to know that you're really working at it. But with you, one of the only even though you guys your shows aren't the same, I always think of Jackass, and those guys had the same kind of run. Yeah. But they went on to do the movies, and that worked out. What about for you guys? Is this a possibility? Is it a?
Yeah, we're trying to make one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been tough.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, thank you. Hopefully it happens.
Yeah.
We've been trying for a year or two now. It's really tough to get all it's a lot of moving parts, but we're trying to.
Isn't that amazing though? When everything about this show has been so successful, and it's still tough to get the next green light, right?
It's tough. It's also just tough to because the show has to be first. Because that's what drives everything. It drives the tour. So we have to still make the show. We don't want to sacrifice quality on the show. And then you have to spread. It's great that we're 4 of us because we do delegate responsibilities for things, but it's tough. It is. But that Jackass is a cultural phenomenon because like they had like 2 seasons of I think like 6 episodes each, and there was viral before viral was viral, and then they did the movie at that time. They were like a rocket, and so when the movie came out, I feel like there was like there was really people were needed to be satiated with like for us we're like over 6 seasons in now, 150 episodes. So like some of our concerns are, how do we differentiate a movie from the show so people don't feel like they're just going to see a long episode of the show, but we don't want to depart too much from what people like about the show. So it's like a tricky thing because, we put yourself out there. It's a great opportunity, but there's risk and reward, So we don't want to make a movie and then we want to be, we want to give our loyal fans what they want, but we also want to give them something else. So, it's fun. It's a challenge. It's been a challenge trying to make it. I have no idea if it'll come to fruition, but it seems like it's going well.
How much of a challenge is it, too, since you guys have been doing this since you were kids, to say the important thing is to keep the band together? Do you ever worry about making sure all 4 guys want to do this gig?
Yeah, we do. We all have different goals and different motivations completely. So we're respectful of each other, and what we want. I think considering, how long we've known each other and how much we're together and how many different ventures we've had to do, like every single day, like a normal day for us, we'll have to democratically make 100 decisions a day. And we're on the same page for most of them, but that is tricky waters to navigate. So I think anyone who would be in that situation would have their fair share of problems. I think in light of that, we've done well with it.
Yes, just keeping it together.
Yeah.
And which is true of any rock and roll band. If you look and at every rock and roll band that ever happened, you're like, the main guys that kept it going are, you look at the Stones, they had a million reasons to break up.
Yeah.
The Who had a million reasons to break up, but keeping it together because you guys are better together.
Well, if we're like them and making the show when we're 70, please shoot me in the fucking face. Although
you know what? I'm going to shake your...
Stones is my favorite band. I saw them last year. But I'm just saying, I also, we're young at heart. Yeah. I hope that's still coming across. But we joke around, season 15. We can't be 60-year-old men, pinching each other's nipples and stuff like that.
Sal.
Or what have you. Some other genius idea.
I actually am going to guarantee you that if you're still doing this at that age, I will shoot you in the fucking face. And I want to shake on it. Sal Vulcano, everybody. You deserve everything, pal. I'm so proud of you. Seriously.
Much. Thank you so much for coming. Ron, thank you so much for having me. This was an honor.
You're great.
It's an honor, really.
You're great.
Thank you, guys.